So what is the way forward? I think the way forward is really to look objectively at what people want in the different regions. There's no doubt that it's a process of evolution in terms of education, using all of the techniques that we have available, taking account of what people want. For instance, hands-on training, discussion sessions, encouraging the young experts of the future to really get together, to present data, to learn how to present data, to question it. So in terms of the format and what the EAU wants to do, we really want to try and provide an educational forum which fulfills the needs of the people living in a locality and to integrate that into the rest of our program. There's no doubt we need to be more innovative in terms of electronic use, in other words, in terms of the use of electronic media in providing education, in being interactive, allowing people to, for instance with laparoscopy, to develop their skills using electronic education, and that's what the European School of Urology is doing under Professor J.Palou at the moment. Certainly what Professor B.Djavan is doing here is to try and bring in a lot of the innovations we've used in other areas to try and enthuse people to be involved. Because unless people come to meetings such as this, which are provided in the locality so they don't have to travel distances, it's not going to actually be successful. So really we need to work together with the senior urologists, the professors in each area within the region to see what they think is most effective for the locality, and also to speak to the younger urologists to see what they want. I've been to a number of these meetings in the past, and certainly I think this is the most interactive that I've seen in this area, the SEAM area. I think that the impression I get from people is that they feel the same, not only the senior guys but also the younger urologists, and I can see that really this meeting is going places at the moment and we need to really try and encourage it. But we need to see how it develops, and we need to be responsive to people's views and, as I say, to incorporate it in the main programme of the European Association.
I'm very happy to stay here because I think this format of Congress is very, very innovative. First of all, I think why? Because we can compare different experiences. We have different countries with different urological cultures, and then it's necessary to see what is the Kosovo situation or the Turkey situation or all this region in Europe. And I think we can see that we have very different cultural level, different approach to urological science. And I think, first of all, it's necessary to have this type of meetings because it's necessary to have this comparison. The second point is the innovative model of this type of Congress, because when we have one young urologist presents a lecture from the proper country, is very important to have this competition, because the competition is the salt of the life, and it is necessary to have this type of approach. I agree with you that it's necessary to have a pre-examination, a pre-lecture, because we can have a type of adjustments to have the better presentation in the morning lectures. Then I think we can continue and we follow this way because it's the right way. I think EAU has a great job in this field at this moment, with the ESUT, with the school, with the scholarship, with all the education. But I think the level of EAU can increase the attention to the residents, but especially in this very delicate area after the postgraduate school, because there is 3-4 years after postgraduate school where we have this young urology abandoned, and then it's necessary to offer them right position, right educational, excellent point of interest, and then I think the attention of EAU to this very, very important fascia of age of urology after the postgraduate school is between 30, 35, 37 age is very, very important. It's necessary to increase the efforts, and I'm sure that EAU can have this type of strategy in the future. I'm very happy grateful for this question, because in the last board meeting of EAU, we are the only office where EAU has increased the level, the money level. Then is very important message for the scholarship office program. I think it's necessary to enlarge the attention of young urologists, not only with short but with clinical and lab and clinical scholarship. But I think we can imagine other opportunities, because the problem for the scholarship, because it's very important to begin for these young urologists to know the other European centers all over Europe, to have the idea of high technologies. That's very, very important to have a large trip where the young urologists can increase the attention and the cultural level too.
I must say this meeting, and we are now in the middle of the meeting, has shown a lot of new things, and I must really say I can congratulate all the organizer, B.Djavan, Dimitrios, that for doing a very great job. And for me the most thing is that we have a big innovation concerning the hands-on training inclusion of other activities inside EAU. We have the European School event as a program, and we have, of course, this contest, which I think was today a great success. There was a high quality of the level of every speaker of every country. It's maybe a little bit also fun to compete in between, but it's not the only thing. It's just to give every country who is participating a chance to present, at least at this stage, to give a presenter a chance. And it was also interesting to see the variety of topics that have been shown from the different presenters, and every talk had really a superior quality. So I can tell you, as a chairman of ESUT, who is really the EAU section office for Eurotechnology, it's very interesting to see the various levels, really from, let's say, a problem in the beginning of getting the material in one country in the area to a very high standard in the other part of these southern eastern meeting section office or countries participating. So what is important, I think, is from our side to use the area as a resource, particularly if we have now centers who have already significant experience in laparoscopy, in endourology, so they can be training centers. A lot of them have been trained in Europe, let's say, as the first line training centers, also in EUSP programs or in ESUT programs. And so I guess the next step is now to promote this in the region. Probably there are, of course, further things necessary, super specialized training, and then they can come back to Europe, Central Europe, to the main centers, and to get more knowledge. But I can say the quality that I've seen here, technical-wise, the presentations, what I can assume, I think this is a high quality. On the other hand, there are really countries that needed intensive training, and probably here ESP has to have a close look, that we say, okay, we need really these guys to be very well trained, maybe starting also at a certain dedicated center in Europe, and to support them when they start. I think this is the most important thing. You know, we heard today that there's a learning curve in the procedures, and the learning curve should be as flat as possible, and this is part of training and mentoring. So we are in ESUT developing a kind of staged program. It starts with a theoretical part. It's called E+. There are also in collaboration, of course, with the European School of Urology, and we have the chance that we can really nicely collaborate on this. And the E+ consists of a theoretical part that can be done online. I think that's very important. You don't need a lecture. And then you can go to a certain course, like here, and we are so happy that we are able to implement it here. People can do this course, the certain steps, and on, let's say, smaller tasks to get orientated with the camera, with the instruments, how they work. And then we have the next step. You cannot call it already advanced. The next step is that you work on models like perfused kidneys, even to go to courses, animal courses. And in the future, this is what we are now developing, really an advanced course. So for those who have experience, to extend their knowledge and to extend their expertise, and then they can bring it not only by clinical routine, that they get specific training on difficult procedures, suturing, pyeloplasty, reimplantation, all these done laparoscopically.
My impression about this meeting, and it's my first impression because it's the first time I come to this meeting as a director of European School of Urology, and it has been really good. I think that the new things that have been promoted and started this year have made this course or this meeting quite active and with a lot of participation from the very young urologists to the older ones. So I think this is the good mixture. So we had also the HOTS on training. We had this competition between different nationalities, which is good to stimulate young people, and they feel more comfortable, or they start to know how to feel comfortable, how to prepare a lecture, how to impress the people. So this is a good way to stimulate them and to present what they are doing. Also, we are participating as a European School of Urology with an ESUT course that it's in bladder and prostate cancer, and I think it's a good option also to give some, I would say, master lessons in several topics for the general urologist, because sometimes we see at the meetings a lot of talks, very specific topics that the general urologist, they don't like it. So they want practical aspects, good things that the daily practice will improve for them. So this is what we try to do with our courses, unless they want a specific course at a very high level. I don't mean it's not a high level, globally speaking, as a teaching course, but a more practical way of doing things. And I think that globally, all the meeting is, and that's why it's such a good audience, because I think that people, when they saw the program, say, wow, there are new stuff, new things, and it's going to be good. So probably that's why it's so many people there. Well, we know that at the European Association there are very different levels of urologists, and so they need different things. And from the European School, this is what we try to do. But we have to remember that I would say 90% of the urologists are general urologists. It's 10–20% that are in big centers doing very specific things, or they are sub-specialized and so on. But the rest is general urology. And the school have to teach this 80% and this 20%. So there are different needs. But globally, it's 80%. So we try to do, and that's why, for example, at the EAU European meeting, we have these courses. Now it's 40 courses that we give to the general urologist, and at different levels, but they can choose what level they want, to go to a specific one or a general one. So, and we offer all the different parts of the urology to teach them. Also, we are now implementing, and we will start with a project that was mentioned by Dr. J.Rassweiler about the EBLUS examination, the EBLUS teaching about basic in laparoscopy, because it was not standardized. And from the European School, we said, okay, there are a lot of centers doing laparoscopy, but what has to be the basic level throughout Europe. So we established the EBLUS basic, and then we talked to the ESUT, okay, a lot of good centers that are doing laparoscopy or training in laparoscopy, but what is the standard to be considered as EBLUS advanced? And we are working on that. And so we are trying to establish a little bit the guidelines for the future in laparoscopy. And of course, when we've done the EBLUS basic, EBLUS advanced, then people have to go to one center, see cases, and then go back, and with some proctoring, learn how to do it. And of course, this is the process. And we are doing, collaborating with the EROS as well, with the robotic program. The same, an EBRUS basic, EBRUS advanced, fellowships, and so on. The idea of the school, we don't have to do the programs. We have very good experts. But we are just collaborating to standardize things and going and what they say, think globally, okay? Which is the important thing when we talk about throughout Europe, because there are very different countries, very different needs, but we have to be there and to know that at certain level, certain country needs something basic. And for example, at this meeting, the first day they asked how many people are doing laparoscopy, and it was roughly 30%. And if you ask the same in Germany, in France, in Spain, and probably it's 90% or 95%. Probably there are some economical problems in certain institutions, but also some needs of being trained to improve the future capabilities of these urologists. So that's why we are here. When we talk about daily practice, of course we have some evidence-based medicine that we have to apply it. I mean, if this is demonstrated, we have to do like this, like that, from the point of view of surgery, from the point of view of medication, or whatever. But of course there are always a lot of small details, the daily practice, and for example, that's why we started, or this meeting was started, meeting with the experts, the lunch we had today, that they can ask directly questions from their daily practice, their own doubts, and so on. And this is what normally we try with the lectures. Of course, there are lectures that sometimes they are too far away from the daily practice, but I normally try in my lectures to give clear message from the practical point of view, that this is what the general urologist like. For example, if I talk about bladder cancer and BCG, okay, I can talk lots of hours about BCG, but you have to give some clear message. And I think when a lecturer has the objectives quite clear in a lecture, you say, okay, what I want them to learn is this, and this, these three main points. And I can talk about some more things, but these 3 points have to be very clear at the end of the lecture. And then people like these things. So I think first a lecture has to have a clear objective, and then also it can be added to do some more things like the master lunch or whatever, or other things, or other practical sessions like tips and tricks and things like that, to explain when you have a problem, or you have a doubt, or when there is a variation of the normal practice, what to do. But I think these are things that can be implemented in the future or be improved in the next SAM meetings, of course.
So it's of course a big pleasure that as chairman of the regional office of the European Association of Urology, we were able to implement major changes. Those major changes were not only concerning the scientific program, which is the primary goal, is really to promote science in urology in Southeast European region, plus the adjacent countries. So we have doctors here, professors, surgeons, from starting from Serbia down to Greece and Turkey, up to Russia, even coming here, down to Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Kuwait, and Iran. So it's really a very vast, I would say, region that SEM is covering currently. And it's a big pleasure and honor to see all my colleagues over here. The goal of our meeting, and specifically of the EAU, is to promote scientific output, to promote interaction, to promote training, but most importantly, to be a bridge for the doctors, for the colleagues in the area to have access and connections to centers of excellence in order to promote education, as Professor Hadjikristou is, for example, doing in Thessaloniki, is really to have a standardized, well-organized, well-developed, and most importantly, accepted training module for doctors. It should not be training by habit. It should not be training by chance. It should be training by module. So we need to basically have a quality control of our training. And this all is summarized in this meeting, where young doctors come, present their work, interact, have access to fellowships if they want to talk to fellowship representatives from the European Association of Urology, the European School of Urology. We have the European Society of Urotechnology. Professor J.Rassweiler was giving excellent inputs, and we have hands-on training to learn laparoscopy here with the modules. There are small maquettes in which you can learn. We have laparoscopy hands-on, ureteroscopy hands-on, robotic hands-on. We even have a robotic simulator here. And the tutors, the teachers were from different countries. So I think really this is the 21st century in terms of meeting. It's not anymore a simple conglomerate of 25 lectures that today you can download on internet, but it's more or less an interactive learning experience for the young urologist. It gives you the possibility to meet the experts, to ask them, to challenge them, to present your work, to sell yourself scientifically, to show what you have done, to learn, but also to have a possibility of create friends. And friendship, and I would say networking, is one important part of 21st century scientific interaction. And that, I think, is well summarized in SEM. We have a long way to go. Thessaloniki was an excellent meeting. It is still an excellent meeting. The country competition was outstanding. You have competitors from all different countries, different levels. Some are very good, some are not that good. But it's the Olympic, and we are in the motherland of Olympics. This is the Olympic credo. Participation is already the winning, that Professor Hadjikristou already also said earlier on. I think participating in these events, participating in the country competition is already the win. And I'm sure that it's not only based on me, it's based on all the input from everybody, all the great faculty, that this meeting is so successful and hopefully will stay successful in the future as well. So the regional meetings, the Southeast meeting is one of the regional meetings. We organize meetings in the Central European area, which is Poland, Germany, Austria, Czech Republic, Slovenia, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania. We also organize it in the Baltic region. So we have Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, including also some Scandinavian countries and parts of Russia, Ukraine, and Moldova. These areas represent different geographical medical scientific health structured areas, and therefore the interests may be different from the Southeast region. The diseases may be different, the endemics may be different. My vision is to create for every area a urology hub of the regions in which local urologists feel comfortable in sharing their experience and then preparing for the next step, which is being at bigger meetings, presenting their work at bigger meetings, and interacting scientifically with others. I think our goal and our main goal actually is to promote the young urologists. The senior guys are here to be mediators, promoters, teachers, but they're certainly not here to present themselves. And you can see that, I would say there is a very modest behavior of all the teachers and the experts. You have Professor Chapple, you have Professor J.Rassweiler, you have Professor J.Palou, you have all the people, Professor Janicek is coming, we have Professor Mirone. You really have a very large number of high, well-known experts in their fields, in their respective fields. And my vision is that we will have a bridge of countries that are maybe a little bit less developed scientifically, clinically, because of lack of possibilities. They're excellent surgeons, but sometimes they don't have the tools to learn. If you're a great pilot but you don't have a good plane, you cannot show your skills. So even a good surgeon needs tools to show his skills sometimes, and that's what we are trying to implement. Not only to be a short-time visionary in terms of doing a meeting and then saying goodbye, but also that this meeting has, in German we say Beigeschmack, which has a taste that remains over time. I do see that happen. We had colleagues from Kuwait today sitting together with colleagues from Bosnia, together with colleagues from Russia and colleagues from Greece and Turkey. it was an amazing interaction, how these young people talk differently to each other, act differently to each other. And I think the vision of that is just to allow these countries, which are a little bit, let's say, misfortunate because of history, to give them equal opportunities and to give the young people a chance to fill the gap that was given because of the last 40 years, maybe historical, political discrepancies, and to give them a chance to academically, scientifically come back up and at least reach other levels that are available in the world today. It is already here. I'm not saying it's less. Greece is extremely high, but then you may have problems in Kosovo. You may have other problems in other countries. And I think at the end of the day, we can balance these discrepancies out. And my vision is that at the end, you will have excellent science coming out of East and Southeast Europe. We are competitive with other countries, and we can share with them our experiences. Some things are here so specialized that those, I would say, those experiences and the challenges that are available here give you a different teaching school than what we have in Germany, for example, or in the UK or in France. SEM was a great meeting because of you. SEM was an excellent meeting because of the great teachers. SEM was an excellent meeting because you're great urologists and great scientists. There's a lot of work to do. We are increasing, we're improving, and I want to see you next year in Belgrade in 2014 for the next SEM meeting. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the Hellenic Urological Association, Professor Moutsouris, Professor Hadjikristou, and see you next year in Belgrade.